marathon. We ran this marathon today, the day that we're recording this. We're 4 hours post-race, so everything is very fresh in our minds, from the organization to the course to the finish line and everything else.
Right. We're pretty tired, but we thought, let's do it because it's a very real moment and it's very fresh in our minds. Let's start off with like just the general communication leading up to the race. It was very good communication. We got notes every night this week leading up to the race about different aspects of what to prepare for, and it worked out great. The race sort of headquarters, if you will, is in Greenville, Mississippi, and that's where we are right now. You get bused to Lake Village, Arkansas. It's a point-to-point race, and you start there, and you pretty much run straight back over to Greenville.
So if you're in a club for all 50 states, it can count as either the Arkansas race or the Mississippi race.
Right.
So that's one good aspect of it. And the point-to-point with the buses going. The communication about the buses was really good too. Along with everything else, we knew exactly where we needed to be when the buses were going to leave, where they were going to take us. And once we got there to the start line, we were able to stay on the buses to stay warm. It was a little chilly, great running weather.
Yeah, it's about 30-something degrees.
Race taking place in early February, but chilly to not be running, so we were able to stay on the buses and stay warm. Sufficient number of porta potties at the start line, so that was good. There were never long lines. Nobody was sort of standing in line when it was almost time to start, so that was really good too.
That was good. And
then the course itself, again, the point-to-point was very well marked and sort of maintained. It was a lot of the course was on a 4-lane highway, 2 lanes going in each direction. And a full lane plus the breakdown lane in one direction was reserved for runners. When I say it was well managed, anytime there was an intersection or a need to shift lanes or take a turn or something like that, it was well marked, and there was always police officers or somebody there making sure that the runner's safety was all set.
Right. Yeah, it worked out very good. They gave out goo at mile 7, 13, and 20, and there were a lot of water stops. I was very impressed with that. There were water stops, it seemed to me, like every mile. I think the director said they had 23 total.
Right.
There were some where you had to fill up your own cup if you wanted to. We just skipped those. But some volunteers handed out the cups to you, and some didn't. You just had to look on the table to see what, whether it was Gatorade or water. But it went great, and the volunteers, they were always like, cheering us on and stuff
Right.
like that.
Yeah, very supportive all around, from the race organizers to the volunteers to even the people directing traffic. On the course, sort of the main attraction, if you want to call it that, of the course is the bridge that goes over the Mississippi River.
Yeah.
All in all, it's a very flat course, but that bridge is the incline, and it's more lengthy than I thought it might be. It's
Yeah, it was probably like well over a mile.
you
maybe
climb for
2
well
miles.
over a mile. Yeah, the bridge itself is probably 2 miles.
2 miles.
And
Yeah.
again, a flat course, but the one significant incline or the one real incline in the course is going up that bridge, and that incline does last for more than a mile.
Yeah.
And then it kind of evens out. There is a decline on the other side, but it doesn't feel like it's as much or as long of a decline as there was for the climb. But that's the one incline in the course.
Yeah, the half marathon split, which is the only split that you got in the race, that happened just before you really took off for the incline on the side of the bridge on the Arkansas side. So yeah, that worked out great. The course, for a lot of it, was straight, which is great. As runners, you just want to go straight. I love point to point because you just have to get there. and it's just you and your mind and your body getting you there. So that's good. However, once you get back to Mississippi, you did go down eventually into some residential neighborhoods. Like,
Right.
I don't know what mile that was. Like, even though it was just 5 hours ago, like, in a way, it becomes a blur quick, unless we start studying the map. But we went into a residential neighborhood, and there were some turns in there, and it was, beautiful big homes, gorgeous, and a lot of nice people in there cheering you on and stuff. And I don't know, one guy said he had water and beer, and I just laughed. I'm like, I don't want that. But yeah, it was good. And then eventually you get back out onto that main street,
Right.
and then it was, I think that might have been mile 22 and change, and then you just have to go straight, pretty much, until you get down to the finish line. You can see the finish line for a while.
Yeah, it's one of
And,
those. You can
you know,
see it,
but,
and you know you've got a ways to go to get there.
Yeah, so it's pretty good. I'm trying to think of what else.
Well,
I'm
if
missing.
you're traveling, if you're
traveling.
traveling from
Yeah.
from out of state,
Traveling.
and if you're flying to the location, the airport that we flew into, Jackson, Mississippi, is a drive of more than 2 hours from the
Right.
race headquarters.
Yeah, it's kind of far.
So, that's just part of the planning. We came in the day before the race, and the expo for bid pickup and things like that was open until 8 p.m. the day before. So our travel worked out fine. We were here in plenty of time for the bid pickup, and there was pickup the morning of as well, in case that
Right.
didn't work out.
Yeah,
But if you are coming from another state, and if you are flying, kind of any way you slice it, you're going to have a long drive once you land
Yeah.
at an airport in order to get to Greenville.
yeah. I remember when I was looking up which airport to fly into. You consider all kinds of different ones, like Memphis or Little Rock, and I picked Jackson. I think it was the closest, and I could get flights that kind of made sense and gave us enough time to get in here. But I gotta admit, we got here yesterday at what would you say, 5
About 5 p.m.
5
Yeah.
o'clock or so. I mean, it was pretty an exhausting day because we traveled since the early morning, and you just wanted to be done. But here we are, and it's in downtown Greenville, and we're staying at the Lofts at 517, and the expo was just a few blocks down the street. So it's like, let's just get our stuff and get in the room and set up everything for the next day, race day, and pretty much try to go to bed. That's what we do the night before a race. So, yeah, it was an exhausting day for sure. And then it was a little noisy here last night, so that didn't help. I swear there were helicopters going by at midnight a couple times, unless I was imagining it. But yeah, and you just do the best you can to sleep somewhat the night before a race, but just try to get as much rest as possible. And because you're flying in and out of Jackson, there's not a lot of options for flights, so we could not fly out today. That's why we're staying here again tonight, and we're pretty much gonna go to bed soon and wake up at 2:30 in the morning to drive the 2 hours down to the airport for an early morning flight. So there's not a lot of options. You just have to be willing to be flexible if you can. So.
And there's just one more thing about the race organization and the event itself. After the race, in the same building where the expo was, there was local vendors, merchants, with a lot of food.
A lot of food. A lot of food.
From your Domino's and McDonald's to local shops that offered everything from donuts to Mexican food.
Oh my God. We came back to our room/apartment here with a ton of food. We still had pizza in the fridge from the night before, and we came back with a ton of food, and he ate like a pig while I was taking a shower. And yeah, he's gonna eat again soon. Like I'm not. I ate, but I'm stuffed. And yeah, I'm done for the night, pretty much.
So if you have a big appetite after a race,
Yeah, it was really
it's a
great.
great one. And,
Lots of soda, drinks, chocolate milk.
yeah, if you want to sort of indulge in some foods you don't always indulge in because you just ran a marathon, you have a chance to do that. And there's plenty. You know, there's plenty of everything.
Yeah, like we thought we'd have to go out to dinner tonight or late lunch or something, but we're like, no, we don't even have to go out to eat. We basically just walked back to our room and ate food and got cleaned up and kind of here we are. So that's about
Yeah.
it, right?
So yeah, and I just say all in all, you know, the hospitality, you know,
Yeah,
from that
very
post
nice.
race spread to everybody along the course
nice
at water
people.
stations and the organizers themselves,
Very good.
you know, on race day and at the expo, very hospitable. So they really made it worth the trip.
And it's, you know, I was thinking about it, like, why do people do this race? Well, I mean, we picked this race because it had 100% refund during COVID. You know, last year we had a lot of things canceled, and, you know, we did, you know, get our money back, and we're able to defer things to this year. But, you know, this race was far enough out, and it allowed us to really train harder. For the 4 months, and it had 100%, you know, guarantee, and you know, I thought that was a good thing in the light of the times, but it ended up happening. You know, I should look at my the numbers here, like how many marathoners. Off the top of my head, I'm not sure. I don't want to quote it, but I know I finished like 72nd, but I forget the number. It's probably like about 165 or 170 marathoners total. There is half marathon that starts
Right.
at the same time, and there's a 5K that went on, I guess, over this way. But yeah, I was thinking, like, you know, why people do this. I think it's pretty cool to go from Arkansas to Mississippi and go over the bridge, and we had never been to Arkansas before in
Right.
our life until today, and it was really pretty on that side, you know, too. And they do this thing called the Delta Double. I guess you can run a half in Arkansas and run another half in Mississippi. So it's kind of cool if you want it to count for like 2 states. You can get that done all in one. But yeah, I think that's a draw of why you'd want to do it. It's a little hard to get to, like we said, but it's kind of nice, you know, to be able to pick and choose which state you want to use it for. In our case, I'd use it for Arkansas because I've already run in Mississippi before, but I really like it here in Mississippi. It's nice. People are really nice.
Yeah. The race was well done, well organized, and like I said, very hospitable, and it seems to be true of the whole area.
Yeah.
So so Mississippi River Marathon gets thumbs up.
Gets a thumbs up, and we forgot like our medals.
They give out medals.
They give
We're
out
not wearing them.
medals. Yeah, they're already like packed away, and this is our shirt, little cotton T-shirt, nice, you know, comfy. You'll probably wear that to bed too. But and they gave out like hoodies, like, you know, not sweatshirt hoodies, but just shirt hoodies from last year, I guess. I don't know, and we got a couple of those, and I was thinking about, and the awards, actually, I won one of them. I actually
Congratulations, yeah.
laugh out loud, like I finished first place in my little age group, and which was cool because I got another sub-4 marathon, which I was pushing hard that last mile just to make sure I did. But yeah, I thought that was really cool. They had a lot of awards, and it's a plastic thing. I should go get it, but I'm sore, so it'll take me a while to go get it. But like, it's a little cute little thing, you know. And
I
they
think
had a lot of awards.
First,
and
second, and third for each of the age groups,
and then
you know, first
Yeah.
overall and
Yeah.
master and grandmaster. So they
even
Yeah.
that. So I was telling him maybe he'd win one, but
I didn't.
he didn't. No. But he did good. So, anyways, I didn't catch him this time. But the weather, and actually the weather today was really good. It was finally good to run. Weather that was like conducive to marathoning. It was probably, like I said, 30 something at the start. You know, dry out. It's actually raining now. And I would say that it probably got to maybe 50 degrees by
Right.
the time we finished, but it
Right.
was overcast by then, and it was fine. You know, oh, the headwinds.
There
The
were
headwinds,
headwinds.
those
It seemed
mean
like there were
headwinds
headwinds
for the mini
almost
the
the
whole
entire
way.
stretch.
Yeah, and it was, we had watched and looked at the weather and we're like, oh yeah, you know, we should be fine. There should be an easterly wind and it might affect us. And I felt it very early in the race, and then it switched to southeast fairly early in the race, and I'm like, God, I wasn't expecting that. And I thought for sure, like once we turned and went on the main highway for the bridge, I thought, oh well, maybe this won't have as much of an impact, but that is not the case. I would say that we had headwinds from probably mile 4 until, I mean, it felt like the whole way until we got into that residential neighborhood.
Right.
We had winds, but it didn't feel bad.
Yeah, you're
It-
running
it-
on the
it
water. I
kind of-
guess it's something
Yeah.
to expect, and something for you to expect if you're doing
Yeah,
the race.
it felt, I mean, it was refreshing in a way, but I know it definitely slowed us down.
Sure did. Yeah.
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 So-
That's,
But that's
for
all.
sure.
You know, anything else you want to say?
No, I think that sums up a
All right.
lot.
All right,
a lot.
yeah. So that's it. That's our review of the Mississippi River Marathon. I hope it helps anyone in the future if you decide to do it. Okay. Thanks. Bye.